Hey guys, yes, we are still seeing homes sell, but the ground is trembling. And no, it's not just because of the earthquake we experienced. We're definitely seeing and feeling some signs of shift. And we're just trying to assess how much of that is part of like the normal seasonal cycle, because clearly in summer, the cycle of real estate definitely takes effect. However, it's uncomfortably, as of now, we're still trending up, right? Like on the surface, you can still see that median prices are going up. We're bucking the trend of a lot of the rest of the country. However, our numbers are showing us that there is something happening in the market. We're going to take a deep dive into Tenafly, and I'm going to try to answer the question everybody's asking me, which is what's going on with the real estate market. So let's dive into Tenafly and take a look. Okay, so I made this chart and I wanted to show you because this is Tenafly. I went back all the way to 2015, which is over here, and it goes all the way to 2025, which is here. This is kind of where it's important to understand what the numbers are showing us and where we've come from. So I look at active listings, which is this blue line here, right? And then what new listings hit the market. So active listings are sort of just what's active on the market in July of all these years. So you could see we were active on the market somewhere in like the 70s, 60s, 70s. We jumped obviously to like 100 in 2019, but we've just plummeted from there, and we've just dropped down significantly to this such a low standard of what I would of active listings, right? A low standard of active listings. So active listings would have to take into consideration how many new listings are coming to market and how many of those listings are actually getting sold. And so you could see we've been hovering at such a low number of active listings. And one of the reason is because we just don't have enough new listings. And you can see this orange line here are the new listings. And the new listings, all that means is anything that came to the market in the time frame that I pulled, right? So I pulled January through the end of July, and you could see that there were 200 something, close to 300 units, active listings that were coming to the market in that time frame. So Tenafly was used to seeing 250 to 300 homes come to the market during the months of January through July. And obviously after COVID, all of that started to change. So not only did we get more buyers, but we got less people selling their homes. And that basically continued, and we're still in such a low range of new listings compared to where we were, which is what is actually holding our pricing so firm. It is holding our pricing firm. So when we're going to have too many listings, then we're going to obviously start to see the pricing shift. So far, we haven't seen the pricing shift. I can show you also when you're looking at this chart, you could see this green line is the median sold price, right? So as new listings sort of plummeted, right, and as active listings plummeted, what happened? Median prices starts to go up. Now, what would be an indicator that pricing is going to start to come down? And that would be if we start to see the buyer be taking a step back and not agreeing with the pricing, or we're seeing sellers that are maybe thinking they're going to get more money than they're actually going to get, right? And what is another big part of this are the interest rates. And the buyers don't complain about the interest rates anymore. It's not something we hear anymore because it's just part of their, what goes on with them on a daily basis when they're buying. But the interest rates do drive a lot of this. So we've not been able to get close enough to an interest rate that is making the current sellers feel super motivated to sell. And that is creating an increase in days on the market. So I want to show you that chart because that would be the hint that something is changing. Now we feel it here, boots on the ground. We definitely feel like things are sitting a little bit longer. They're a little bit harder to sell. There are less buyers that are active. I'll give you a for example. We had a beautiful house. We put it on the market, and maybe 6 months ago it would have taken 2 weeks something to sell, but this time it took us more close to 4 weeks to sell. Now we ended up ironically still getting a bidding war and selling that house above market. but it's not happening the same way. So I want to show you one other chart. Okay, so look at this chart because this is the hint that something is shifting. And that's what I was talking about in the beginning of the video. So now you're seeing days on the market climb. See this? It's climbing. Now, granted, it's nowhere near where we were, but it doesn't matter. At this point, you're still seeing a hint of the market shifting. I think what is really interesting, and people tend to forget this, seller, 65 to 70% of every seller is a buyer. And we have a lot of our sellers who are sitting there with very low rates, and so it just doesn't pay for them to sell their homes unless they're going to get a number that makes it worth it, or unless the mortgage rates are low enough such that that swap would feel good to them. So that is a large part of what's holding up a lot of our product. Anyway, that's what's going on in the market. My sense is that we're not going to see a big pickup until we get through August and we are in maybe the middle of September. And so I think if you're looking for an opportunity to go on the market, start thinking about, middle of September to early October. And if we see any kind of interest rate drop, it is definitely going to spark more velocity, and I think it's going to spark the prices to continue to go up. Meanwhile, I do want to say this: the houses that are selling and are getting the most amount of money are absolutely homes that are well taken care of, homes that are more turnkey. So if you're thinking about making some kind of investment in your house that will help you get a better value when you sell, that is definitely what we do for our clients all the time. Whether you're looking to sell now or we're looking to sell later, I would tap me or anybody on my team and have us help you make the decisions of what's worth actually investing in, because you definitely don't want to spend money that you're not going to get back. Right? So I am Stacey Esser with Stacey Esser Group. Thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.